Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan, my handle's Wrangler. Welcome to Frequency Studios. Weekly Wing It. I think this is episode 9 now, so we're starting to build up. And as usual with me is the awesome panel of co-hosts, and I couldn't do the show without them. Just bring them all on. What's up, guys? First up, we got Trippy Soul. Trippy, how's your week been?
Oh, pretty good. It's warming up a little bit around here, so that's good, but I think it's going to freeze again here next week.
Yeah. Now, are you in more northern or southern California? Northern,
southern, very southern.
Very southern?
Right on the border.
I didn't know you got snow that deep.
It has to get really
down.
cold, and it's up in the mountains. But yeah, California's doing really good with snow right now, and we need it. So
that's just not a phrase I ever thought I'd hear.
Mm-hmm.
And also here with us tonight, Maji Chan. Maji, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Hanging in there. And also Raven Nevermore. Raven, how's your week been?
Hey, today was actually really busy with work. But otherwise pretty good.
Yeah. And then also down in the chat, we have first in tonight, Redoubt Productions. I'm here early. What will tonight's subjects be? Well, I will find out shortly too. I mean, we got a bit of an idea, but you never know. A.S. Brunert. I'm still working on saying that right. Greetings. So Reroute Productions. Subjects, we don't plan ahead with these things. We wing it. Yes, sir. All right. So, speaking of subjects that we don't ever really plan for, Maji sent this to me earlier today. So, not that we planned this, no, but wide-angle student tests that measure media for diversity and representation. Maji, you want to explain what this is?
Of course. So we've all heard that there's rumors called the Ecto test, which is Hollywood's diversity and inclusion. Did this guideline follow this? Right? Well, this is a youth media basically checklist of all the different quote unquote diversity tests that have questions and stuff you got to ask. I don't know if you're familiar with Disney's newest movie, Strange World. I beg you're not, because it's bad. But I just wanted to kind of go over these tests real quick and then go over the movies so you guys could kind of see why it was such a flop in the movie theaters. Technically, it was such a big flop, it not only lost money, but it lost millions of dollars. Wow. So the first one is the Bechdel test. Basically, the one that everybody knows. It's the whole MCU. It's usually defaulted for the MCU, as Gary from Friday Night Tights likes to call it. The Bechdel test, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, is for quote-unquote the representation of women. Before I go any further, I'd like to say I'm a respecter of persons. I am not a phobe of any kind, racist of any kind. It is all in the list of these checklists. I am reading it straight from here, okay? Because it gets pretty bad. So I'm just covering my ass right now. I'm just saying, these are physical checklists that Hollywood use. In fact, if you look at the internet domain of this website, this is designed to be a checklist used for youth media.
Yeah, this looks bad.
Specifically. Oh, it's bad. So there's the first one, the Bechdel test. For representation of women. There are at least 2 women in the film who talk to each other about something other than a man.
But what if the antagonist is a male and they're talking about a plot to come against said male?
Nope,
they can't talk about that now
cannot be
because they're talking about the man.
anything about the male character.
It's so weird.
No, feel free to ask for each one because it actually gets worse.
That's okay. They're too busy talking crap about each other.
The Duvernay test, which I'm pretty sure I just pronounced that whole way wrong. So if you guys have a better idea how to pronounce some of these, please, by all means, is the diversity and racial representation. African Americans and other minorities have fully realized lives rather than serve as the
Scenery.
scenery in white.
Scenery, like just background stuff.
Yeah. So
And white
yeah.
stories. What does that mean? What does that even mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
White stories.
I hate reading this. African Americans and other minorities have fully realized lives rather than serve as scenery in white stories.
What does that even mean? So
I think what that means is being a side character to like Batman or something.
well, I don't know if they even understand what a fully realized life is. Life is like when they make their characters. My side character in my screenplay is Muslim. He's an American Sunni Muslim from his parents are from Tehran, so he's like straight
Hold
descended
on,
from.
did you say side character?
He's kind of the main character. There's like
Yeah, I
he's-
read that. I was going to say he's a main character for certain.
yeah, he's my main character, but I know spoiler. The way I wrote him is he has his mom is like very worried about him, like protective. His dad is like a cook. Like if you see the family scene, you can see that it's like it feels like a family unit. There's scenes where his dad sits down and talks to him, has like this sex talk with his son. I thought it was a really funny scene, but it's just like a very natural like thing for that teenager to have with his father. I don't know if they do that in these movies.
Yeah. Oh, it gets better. The Rafe test, Wait.
Yeah,
They
I just
come up with some of the
Wraith.
weirdest names.
Wait,
The representation of black women. The film features a black woman who exists within a position of power and is in a healthy relationship.
yeah, define healthy relationship.
How's that supposed to happen?
Does anybody even have that anymore these days?
Not in these stories, not that I'm seeing. A lot of them are really toxic.
Oh yeah. Can you scroll? Yeah, there you go.
Villa Lobos?
The
That's
Villa
cool.
This
Lobos
is my
representation of a Latina woman in the film as a Latina lead, and the lead of another Latina character is shown as a professional or college educated, speaks unaccented English, and is not sexualized.
Then what's the point of having her? Bring back that sexy accent.
I know that was
Like I said, I claim I am a respecter of persons. I am just reading this list created by Hollywood for youth media guidelines.
It sounds like they're trying to make him more white now. This sounds racist. What the hell?
This is terribly racist. Oh,
Via
it gets better.
Lobos. That's like a rough translation. What that like a house of wolves?
So, Vita Russo test for LGBTQ plus representation. The film must contain an identifiable LGBTQ plus character who is not predominantly defined by their sexual orientation or gender identity. This character must be tied into the plot in such a way that their removal would be a significant effect, meaning they are not there to simply provide colorful commentary, paint urban authenticity, whatever the hell that means, or set up a punchline.
I might have seen that done once right in Sense8. Did you ever see the series Sense8 on Netflix?
I think I saw an episode of it.
It's Wachowski's brother. There's a trans woman character in that, and I'm pretty sure the actor is just a woman.
Hey,
But-
Kikuman.
No, it was just a part of her character. She wasn't really like the main focus. The main focus was her basically telepathy with the other characters in the story.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the one time I've seen it done right in the past decade.
Hasn't that been their main point though? Oh, this is an LGBTQ whatever thing. That's this character, and that's the reason why this character is so great. And then it's in the show, but it's like, okay, I don't like the character.
And keep in mind, this is for kid shows.
Yeah,
Why
this
is
is
this even a
the
subject
domain.
that would be considered appropriate for a kid show?
The domain of this website is called Youth Media.
Yeah. Hey, Akikomon.
It gets better. So let's continue. The Ritz test for portrayal of Muslim people. If the film / show stars at least, if the film / show stars at least a character who identifiably is Muslim by ethnicity, language, or clothing, the character must not be talking about the victim of the portrayer of terrorism, presented as irrationally angry, presented as superstitious, culturally backwards, or anti-modern, presented as a threat to Western way of life, presented as misogynic,
Misogynistic.
misogynic. Wow, I totally misspelled or mispronounced that one. Or represented as oppressed by male counterparts if female.
Yeah, I think Nasir Afsim passes that test. I think I did a good job.
Actually, yeah, he does. He actually does. Without the woke tartary, he actually passes that.
That's my whole point of my screenplay. It's supposed to be how you do. That's how you do it correctly. It's not woke. It's actual representation of just he's a Muslim kid. It opens up with him doing a morning prayer. I mean, geez.
This is where it gets. This is where it starts.
Kids in TV's movies. Okay, what the hell?
Yeah, Massey tests for sexism in kids and TV's movies. Gender representation. Are the female characters presented in roughly equal numbers and status? Gender freedom. Do males and female characters subvert traditional gender roles and have the freedom to enjoy a whole range of experiences unlimited by their gender? Gender safety. Is the show free from sexualization of children, objectification, unrealistic body standards, and misogyny? Social justice and equality. Does the show support equality and social justice in other ways? Can every kid see someone like them? What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, well, up here it's like, is the show free from the sexualization of children? Well, it kind of was until you went over with this.
The first part,
the Vito Russo test.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Even within that one section, that the first part contradicts the second part because it wants to prevent the sexualization and objectification of children, but then says we must sexualize and objectify the kids, and it's like you're conflicting yourself within your own test.
And then they automatically rank the guys with misogyny.
Yeah, I noticed they got no problem with misandry, though. They're cool with all sorts of misandry. Just keep out the misogyny. I thought they wanted equality.
See, the problem is we're just a bunch of bigots. We can't understand this stuff.
Oh, why didn't anybody tell me that?
That's what we get for being wrong thinkers. Yeah, I don't know where this is coming from.
You should read the 4 additional tests that is optional.
Yeah, I saw those. Those go straight into like the heart of critical race theory or something, right?
Yeah.
White man bad.
Is this them?
Yeah, that's them. So yeah, there's the freaking critical race and identity. Does the show start a conversation or make people want to question common narratives about race and identity? Who the hell would put that in a kid's movie?
Who the hell's asking? No, nobody's asking. Nobody wants that. What the heck?
Well,
created by. All right, so you got to look up that. Created by Shamir Mizra, event planning student.
Yeah, well, I think these are things that were added by students. So
yeah, students. These are all students. Like with these. Oh, look, I'm so smart. I'm so intelligent at 20 years old. I got so much life experience. I know how to rationalize things.
The high school or college? Directly underneath.
Looks like 20. Design intern.
Designing what?
I don't want to spoil too much about the mom.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's
the
like,
young test
This is stuff little
for
kids should be thinking about.
representation
No.
of underrepresented groups. There are no stereotype characters representing an underrepresented group, LGBTQ minorities. The Alexander test for diversity. There is at least one diverse friend or group, interracial couple. Sloan, the representation of women. The test is a TV show, has a woman that has a discovery story that doesn't involve a male character in the show.
How come that one didn't name their test after themselves?
Brother.
Everyone else. No, look. Everyone else is so superficial and egotistical. They named their own test, made sure it was made by them. Let
As
everyone
well,
know.
I think I failed the Villalobos test because my Latina character has an accent and she is hot.
Yep, you failed it.
I'm happy to fail that one.
Good job.
Worth it.
All right, so you guys are probably wondering why the hell I pulled up this list, right?
Yeah, where'd you get
Other
this
than to
from?
discuss this. All right, so I actually went into trying to find the checklist for Hollywood because I ended up watching that new Disney Strange Worlds movie.
Why did you do that to yourself, by the way?
I'm sorry.
I didn't pay for it. Technically, my mother bought it so she could watch it with the grandkids. And I'm like, okay, I've heard this movie is a complete disaster. So I'm like, well, I didn't have to pay for it, so screw it, I'll watch it. It's bad. It is. Okay, so this movie is such a political regurgitated garbage. I wanted to pull up the list that is used in Hollywood, that's kind of the guidelines, quote unquote, for Hollywood to see how many boxes this movie checked off. I think it checked off all but one.
Which one did it miss?
I hate to say it. Here, pull up the list again because I want to call it by the
I'm
name.
curious.
I don't
It'd be
want to
funny.
sound
But
like
do you see what Bruner has to say?
Yeah. Yeah, I like the one before as well.
you maniac. Yeah.
Yeah, the power elite do not care about your individuality. They wish to exploit it for profit.
Of course.
Or literally anything else. Yep.
Well, oops, I needed to go back to this one first for the context. That could have been 2 hours spent on interchange prompts.
It is true.
Or sitting in the corner.
No,
or
I
literally anything else.
I was actually working on Gamble because so I was right. I wrote Gamble, but I didn't like how it ended. So I went back and was changing it because it didn't feel natural. It felt like the story was being forced. So I was going back and rewriting how it transitions. But yeah, I could have easily spent that 2 hours on that instead of this stuff. All right, so go down.
But now because you spent 2 hours on that, you could come here and talk about it for 2 hours.
I don't want to say it because it sounds so terrible. It's
Say
the Middle Eastern one representation.
Okay.
Did they have like a terrorist in there that was Middle Eastern?
No, that's the only one they didn't check in this box. This one, the Ritz test.
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar.
I just didn't want to say the other way because it just sounds so bad. But okay, so the movie starts out. There is this big male misogynist character who's raising his son. The son is definitely going to be the beta male hero type. They discover this green energy that could provide power and change the world. Well, the misogyny male's like, no, I want to finish my exploration and see what's on the other side of those mountains. The other guy's like, you know what? This can be enough to save the world. So fast forward 25 years because they break up and go their separate ways. Green energy saves the world. Kind of. Then it starts to go into the next generation. The next generation has I hate to sound like this. I really, really do. But it has a biracial couple, which I don't care about that. But they had to make sure that you knew that that was what was going on. And their son is LGBT. He's totally gay, like openly gay in the whole entire movie. They run this farm. The whole entire farm starts to die. Then all of a sudden, the president of their world, or mayor, whatever you want to call it, shows up in a giant. It's like this cross between steampunk and hot air balloon kind of technology. And
More a little more like diesel punk.
well, no, because they don't use fuels. They've never used fuels in all this. They were using plants. But yeah, it gets weird. They make sure you know that they are using plant energy, period. But it then goes to the leader of this place is clearly I can't tell if they're trans or not because they do this very, very butch like woman who's totally it's so weird how they do it. So they go on this venture. They go back to the mountains where the son and the dad first fought 25 years earlier. His son sneaks aboard the ship. His wife drives another airship to go and tell him that their son snuck aboard the other ship. And then they all end up all on this big, massive ship. And within a half hour, the one white character asshole guy, not the misogyny guy, they actually made a separate character, which I was impressed with, dies. And his wife, who's the bestest pilot ever, can suddenly pilot a massive airship because she knew how to pilot a small little crop duster ship and can maneuver it through these underground tunnels, and they end up crashing in this magical, strange, mystical world underneath the surface. There's all these little jelly-like creatures and all of that. Go on. They run into the old guy who's the giant male misogynist. And of course, the son and the misogynist don't get along. The grandkids just like in awe. The whole purpose of this movie, as they're going through, I mean, don't get me wrong, the animation and music is fantastic. Animation is absolutely gorgeous, and the music reminds me of an Indiana Jones film. But that's as far as it goes in terms of anything, because they literally hit every checkbox of this stupid thing. And the whole purpose of this movie, like their quote-unquote plot, is to leave the legacy for your next generation. Well, they ruined that plot by making the kid gay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they had to make them a big hero because there isn't going to be a next legacy.
Oh, brother.
I don't know if the writers understood that one.
But it just gets worse. Oh, it gets so worse. You want movie spoilers?
Yeah, I don't
Sure.
care. I'm not gonna shit.
Sure. Never gonna watch it.
Yeah. So they go through this journey. They're on these flying creatures, whatnot, make it to the center of the earth, because the whole point is to get to the center and figure out what's killing the green energy. Well, it turns out the green energy is a fungus killing a larger organism. So they're taking shots at farming and cultivating because it's killing the earth.
That makes no sense.
It gets better. It gets better. Well, technically, mass-produced farms do produce a lot of byproduct, and I think that's what they were trying to get at.
No, their analogy, though, doesn't make no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense, and it's a shot at green energy.
Yeah.
It gets worse. So, like, the 3 generations on the way to this heart is trying to bond and get along with each other. And then the grandson's like, how about a game? Which is like this weird cross between Settlers of Catan, Wizards of the Coast, and the whole purpose of the game, which the father and the grandfather are fighting. Like, one's trying to kill the insects because he's a farmer. The other guy's trying to explore, and then he's like, no, the whole purpose of this game is so we all live harmoniously with the planet. That sounds like a boring ass game, and I study biology.
Yeah.
Goodness.
You don't really.
But
It's not really harmony so much as fighting constantly. This planet wants to kill you.
that's the point. Well, the son and the grandson get into an argument with each other and ended up separated from the rest of the group. And then they come out of the mountain, which apparently nobody has ever tried to get over the mountains because they are so flippin' tall. And then they realize they're staring at a giant eyeball. And then they go back into the caves and select the whole place is a living organism. It's a giant creature. We can't let this plant kill it because it's killing the heart. That's why the plant is dying, because the body's trying to reject the plant. And you're like, what the hell? And so they end up killing the green energy because it's killing the main body. And then they end the movie by revealing that everybody lives on the back of this giant ass sea turtle.
Oh, great! So it's a Stephen King movie.
So it's like eating mushrooms and going on a woke trip.
Oh, there is not one thing non-woke about this whole bullshit.
Just look at that list. That list of tests. That is like, I want to laugh at it because it's so ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, it looks like a parody of reality. It looks like a parody of political correctness. But they made
this
it.
movie checks
like
every single box but the Ritz test, and even then, that's questionable because you don't know who. That they actually were nice to tell you. You don't know if the mayor is a trans or not, and you also don't know what ethnicity the mayor is. So it may or may not pass the Ritz test.
This just seeps into absolutely everything. They're like the Borg, or they're more like necromongers. Convert or die, and go around canceling everything.
But if you're reading this test, and the fact I am telling you that movie checks almost every box in that test, how can you have a solid movie?
Apparently, they didn't. Hey, can we apply this to Family Guy and see how it works out?
Probably fail. Fail everything.
I think one of the big issues, at least to me, is must not be talking about, be the victim of, or the perpetrator of terrorism. Well, if they're talking about ongoing events somewhere, they may be talking about terrorism. Why is that such a hard thing?
Here's the funny thing about that. The mayor ends up freaking locking the family in a closet because she wants to save the green energy.
Oh, brother.
She sides with the green energy instead of trying to kill it to save the large living organism they all live on.
This sounds like writers that don't really understand science but have best of intentions. They like repeat rhetoric of things. I think there's a Carl Sagan quote saying that how we can live in a time where we're surrounded by science and technology, but no one really understands science and technology.
The funny thing about this, okay, so I watched the end credits twice. I refused to watch that movie a second time, but I watched the end credits twice to see who the writers were. You couldn't. Yeah. There was no reference to the writers. But I could see the.
Was this written by AI?
Oh no, it gets actually better. You can clearly see there were two diversity and inclusion officers, but there was no spot given for the writers. And then I had to look it up. According to IBM, the writer was the producer. So no one dared stand up to the producer, who was the single writer of this bullshit, and told him it was bad.
And who was the producer?
Oh, I don't know. It was bad. I could care less at that point. I was done.
Yeah, well, see, that's when you got to start looking, because that name's important. If you find that name moving forward, you'll know what the movie's going to be like. And then that name could be eventually CEO of Disney, and that's really, really bad.
Right, over in the chat, the conversation continued on where Bruner was talking about sitting alone in a corner instead of watching the movie or literally anything else, uh, which is what he's doing right now. No. But Bruner said, "You're sitting alone in the productions." Readout Productions said, "Actually, I am doing an Iron Age prompt, but I'm sure I'll need to sit in a corner and question what has become of the world after hearing about Strange Worlds."
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was written by I cannot pronounce this name. Qui, and then the last name is Nguyen. It was written as a
Nguyen.
screenplay.
Sounds like Q Nguyen.
I have no idea.
Either that or a whole bunch of consonants got into a pile up on 995.
I think it's Vietnamese. Nguyen? Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, Q is the co-director, so no one actually had the balls to step up and say this movie sucked.
It just makes you wonder how they got into this position. You know, this is someone that went to the right school, shook the right hands, attended the right parties, and then got the right job at Disney, right? This is all Disney.
Okay, so Don Hall, who is the other director, is a white guy, so he's probably terrified of saying anything.
But in my half-assed lazy explanation, we have marked off every single one of these shitty-ass tests, with the exception of possibly the Rich test. It's kind of hard to tell because the mayor was never discussed.
And this is the model moving forward. Every movie.
And this is quote-unquote youth media.
Yes, we cannot drive that point home enough. That is what they're trying to spoon feed, actually at this point, force feed our kids. You know, that's why we got to keep writing, because this is garbage. And it's called TV programming for a reason. They are programming. And I know you've probably heard that said left, right, center, everywhere, but it's true. We got to really pay attention to what we let our kids watch, because this stuff is designed to get into their heads and set the precedent.
Yep.
It's telegrooming.
The fact I had to open up with a disclaimer claiming I am a respecter of persons and not to take this personal because I'm just reading a Hollywood checklist should tell you how bad it is.
Yeah.
Whoever put this list together, I want them to go sit at the front row of an Andrew Dice Clay show and see how they hold up.
Did you see the hashtag that went along with it?
No.
Go look at that hashtag. It's like for a colorful future or something like that.
Whichever map wrote it should be on a wall.
Hashtags are how we like trend things.
Yeah,
so this
see,
we can track
wide angle
stuff now.
youth media. So this is actually designed
Feature so colorful
for kid movies.
So now you can do hashtag feature so colorful on Twitter and find out what else pops up with that. You know, kind of track what they're really trying to go at and who they're targeting.
Yeah, because I don't think I want that stuff showing up in my Twitter feed.
Yeah, I'm just saying tactics here. How if you really wanted to go into it.
Why do we care about sexual representation in kids programming?
We don't. They do. The question is, why are they thinking about these things together?
I think part of it is they're trying to normalize a bunch of this stuff because they're gross and disgusting.
I agree. That's what I think they're doing too. And it's just, you said it, gross and disgusting. What more can I say?
I think it's more of an attack on Christianity and morals more than anything.
Yeah. And
you think it's just a giant FU to the Christian country that this has been for the past 50 plus years, 60 years? Seems
longer.
Like it.
Yeah.
It was founded on Christian principles.
Well, I mean, like
you follow Christianity.
My context meant
our laws are based on it.
Yeah, I meant contextually to media shows and stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Like Simpsons. Simpsons were a Christian family. They went to church and everything like that. You know, that was the predominant thing for the longest time.
I think they more made fun of it, but yeah.
I've been reading The Naked Communist, and it's a pretty interesting book, and it goes through. The guy that wrote it was a part of the FBI, worked under Hoover, I believe, and he did a whole lot of talks.
Wasn't that an official Congress report?
I don't know if it was an official Congress report, but it was like a #1 bestseller at one point in time in the 60s, I think. But it was like almost everybody in America had a copy of the book and were reading through it and such. But I think people should pick it up again and start reading through it again.
America is a Christian country, regardless of separation between church and state, or at least it was.
Yeah, well,
It's like 67%.
so I read, what was it, Christian Nationality or something like that.
I'll be right back, guys.
A while ago, and it walks through like how the original colonies were established and part of the reasoning for including that verbiage in there. And it was because you had the Puritans, you had the Quakers, you had all these different ones, and each one of them had formed their own colonies. And some of them didn't like anybody other than their kind around, like the Puritans only wanted Puritans in the colony. They even kicked out Lutherans. Whereas the Quakers were happy to have everybody because they preached to everybody. Then I don't remember all the other different ones, but there was different ones, and I think it was like Georgia was created, and you just had to be a Protestant. They didn't care what type of Protestant, you just had to be Protestant. And so it was like all of these different ones had their initial goals of this Protestant branch or that Protestant branch or whatever else. And so whenever they came together to create the federal government, they're like, we got to, we left Europe to get away from a state-run religion. And so they were looking at each other and they're like, the only way that we can do this is we can say the state cannot pick which one is going to be the main primary religion. And so that's the reason why that clause was added in there. Now people act like it's supposed to be giving them the benefit to not have to hear about religion or something, where that's completely not what it was related to at all.
Well, yeah, freedom to practice religion, freedom of religion, not freedom from religion, really.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. No, atheists
I
is
don't
weird,
know.
man. They're
Well,
just weird.
technically, if you follow Royce, man, the woke is a religion.
Yeah, they're stemming it up. They're acting like it.
Like I
They're
said,
using the tactics.
they're like this weird something in between necromongers and Borg.
I'm getting a bit more pessimistic. I'm starting to favor religious authoritarianism again.
Yeah, you say that until you
Until
find
it
out
happens.
what religion it is.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, like I said, in the early days of a lot of the colonies, like if you weren't a Puritan, they would kick you out of the Puritan colony. And so there's that authoritarian. But now there's other ones you could go to and join, some other colony, because initially there was one, and there was another, and then there's more and more and more. And so, I mean, at worst, you could probably just go and join Georgia, which was just need to be Protestant.
I mean, there's nothing really wrong with isolation. The problem comes when you start attacking, enforcing.
Yeah.
And that's what the woke are doing. They're pretty much attacking and forcing right now.
Yeah. So say convert or die. That's kind of their whole cancel culture thing. I meant to highlight Timo earlier. I'm sorry, I forgot, Timo. I'm about halfway through your book right now, man.
Ooh, book?
Yeah.
Which book?
The Black Saint.
Black Saint. Oh yeah, you add that to the list. So many books.
Yep, so many books. Yeah, speaking of Royce, that reminded me, you just posted a thing about Project Veritas, which was another thing that I forgot earlier.
Yeah, that's freaky.
I never
just-
followed them.
Booted him.
So it's Papa John's all over again. Basically, the board kicked him out as CEO. Now, one thing is that I've heard two various different reports. I think both of them could possibly be true at the same time.
Sorry.
Because one group was saying the board kicked him out, and a couple of other people were saying, no, he quit. Well, it is possible that they removed him as CEO, and then since he was no longer CEO, then he quit.
Hey, crazy. Yeah, we were talking. You missed it. We had all the wonderful movie checklists for all the racial and inclusion, and then we were talking that woke has become the religion.
Yep. Everybody talks about they got to check all the boxes. Well, we have the actual checklist now.
If you want a copy of it, I could send it to you.
Ooh, we could do a drinking game out of it.
Oh, it's bad.
You get wasted.
Isn't that interesting how the news cycle keeps moving on? We already forgot about the train fires and the original exposure from Project Veritas that got us into this position. But
Oh, well, I'm still thinking about those two. I mean, I've been looking at a bunch of stuff today on the train stuff because there's a lot of people complaining about it still.
It's the checklist. I feel okay. You know what pisses me off about the Ohio train thing? Our freaking president is in the Ukraine right now. He made a surprise trip to the Ukraine, but they couldn't even send the freaking Secretary of Transportation to Ohio. What the hell?
Yep.
Yeah, it's President's Day, and then all of a sudden the president's not here on President's Day.
Yeah, what?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ukraine beat California to being the new 51st state.
What?
About the
Did
metal
you
factory?
hear about
in
the
Ohio?
metal factory in Ohio that exploded today?
Ohio
No.
can't get your brief. What the hell?
What part of Ohio was that in?
I guess we got to pull that up now.
Yeah, there's
Really?
lots and lots of things going on.
But that's just stupid. What the hell?
Oops, that was the wrong.
Okay, I sent it to you, crazy. But yeah, the fact that the freaking domain name for this is Wide Angle Youth Media, it just pissed me off, and I only looked it up, like I said, to review that movie because I wanted to see how many checklists it hit, and it hit all but one. And even then, it could be argued because you have no idea the mayor. But poor Ohio, man.
Yeah,
Come
poor Ohio.
on, they gotta leave Ohio alone. That's like Drew Carey's country.
Yeah.
They got it bad.
But, you know, we'd rather go and visit Ukraine, our new 51st state that we never voted on.
Well, clearly our politician and president doesn't really care about the citizens.
poor Puerto Rico, nobody talks about them anymore.
Okay,
Wow.
let's see what we're looking at here. At least hang on, I got glare on my screen. I can't read it. At least 14 people were hurt in an explosion Monday at a metal factory in Bedford, Ohio, according to Reuters. The injury from the explosion at the Schumann and Company metal alloy plant consisted mostly of burns, Oakwood Fire Department Captain Brian DeRocco said. One person was treated on site, and the other 13 were taken to local hospitals. At least one was critically injured. Yes, this says today's date, Monday, February 20, 2023. Where's the okay, by Misty Severi. I wanted to at least mention the name of who wrote the article. What? Wonder where is this, like close to the derailment or what?
Don't know. Have to look up on the map.
Ohio train derailment. Dem senator says residents right to be skeptical about safety. Well, duh.
The way the whole situation has been is just the friggin' pisses me off and tells me the fact that the government really doesn't care. The fact it took 2 weeks before any major news covered it, and the only reason why they covered it was because word got out that that reporter freaking got arrested trying to break the news. That was
Yeah.
what first got it covered.
I don't know
Independent
I-
channels is what put it out there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, I have a bigger theory in that it's not that the government doesn't care; it's that they're excited about it. I mean,
They hate us.
They really do, and the best way to bring on the what was originally Agenda 21 and then Agenda 2030, and ensconced in the Patriot Act, the best way to bring that is to literally bring society to its knees and say, look, see, society was bad. See all that bad stuff. And that way they can impose all of the ridiculous freedom taking laws on us that the globalist asshats like the WEF want to do. I mean, that legitimately is what I think. I think that they are, I think this is what they wanted. I think that they were unable. I think although I have my issues with Trump, he was a monkey wrench in the system that just, kind of slowed them down, and they had to accelerate everything. And so now they're just accelerating everything as much as humanly possible. And
Making it obvious for the rest of us to see.
You're
Well-
thinking they're doing that by derailing trains and blowing up factories in Ohio.
well, they're also
look at the
prohibiting-
amount of farmland in Ohio that is privately owned.
That's all food that's gone.
It's-
I don't go down rabbit holes anymore.
At the same
If you look
time
at those
that all
train
the
tracks in
chickens are
Ohio,
going,
they suck. The train tracks in Ohio have been neglected for decades.
Not saying that they
And
haven't.
they
Not saying
don't-
that they have.
Technically, we
but-
have the same
so,
rail
but-
system
Failing
from
infrastructure.
100
But
years
there are over 1,000 train derailments every single year, right?
Failing
There
infrastructure.
okay.
Yeah.
There are over 1,000 train derailments every single year. How many years have we heard about toxic chemical spills on train derailments? And there have been like 5 of them in the last 3 weeks in multiple different states.
And who decides to
And they
fucking
are-
burn them?
All hazmat.
So, where are you getting this from? You're getting this all from the news, aren't you?
No. You can no, this is common knowledge. You can go and look this up. This is all
Common knowledge. I don't live in these places. How would I know that the factory blew up in Iowa, Ohio? How would I know that trains are derailing?
Oh no, I
live in
was
San
looking
Diego.
through I was looking through news today trying to figure out what
Ah.
story I was going to talk about tonight.
Here's the problem. It's the news. They make you want to do this. They want you angry. They want you pissed. They want you going down rabbit holes. They don't want you rationalizing certain things. It comes down to propaganda. It can't be every factory that blows up is now a result of the globalists trying to do that. That's insane. You do
All I
realize that.
know is
true,
that-
but
yeah,
they
of
will
course.
definitely use those as opportunities
but-
when they happen.
So now
But-
you're gonna see. Now this is all like the part of your psyche.
Well-
You're now seeing these things and you're putting these links together that aren't necessarily true. But
No,
seem
because you
true.
can go back. No, because you go back and then you look at the statistics that are already there, and you look at the statistics of hazmat train derailments that have happened that have caused town evacuations over the last years. You go look at the factories that have exploded or caught fire.
In Ohio.
The exponential amount of
Ohio.
carnage that is coming out. Yeah, again,
Ohio.
no, not of Ohio, of the rest of the nation.
Yeah.
Like all of it is there. You can go look it up. It's open record. All of this stuff I used to work in hazmat. Anything in a hazmat related company over 1 gallon. Actually, they changed it. I think it's over 1 liter is considered a recordable spill. So a water bottle full of a hazardous chemical, which admittedly, although bad, you spill it in some dirt, you clean up the dirt, you put it in a pail and you send it off, to the proper waste,
I can
facilities that are
contest
proper
to
waste
that
facilities. Because I used to have to do this.
I can
Right.
contest to that coming from manufacturing. Yeah, if we have 1 liter spill, the entire manufacturing area is evacuated, and somebody like Royce, a safety guy, comes in and contains the whole thing, and then there's a whole procedure around it.
And so
you don't burn
you
it.
look
Really
at the amount
hazardous?
you look at the amount of recordable spills that have happened, and most people, oh my God, it's a spill. Oh my God, spills happen all the time, right? But when you understand how small a recordable spill is, and then you factor that most of them are that small, then you start going into train derailments, how many happen every year. Then you start going into specific locations. You start looking at factories, food plants, all that stuff.
Cargo.
And again, all of this is not just trains, but we're talking factories as well. We're looking at the overall whole. And it goes, how much of this happens every year? Now, the thing is, they'll tell you, oh, this happens all the time. What they won't tell you is the minuscule amount of a thing. Okay, well, a factory caught fire. Well, yeah, there's a good chance that factories do catch fire somewhat regularly every year.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they're small, they're contained. You put them out with a fire extinguisher. You do have to report those and record those. They're small, though, right?
They're
And
not
usually after that, factories come in, they make sure that stuff can't happen again. Why? Because fires are usually bad. What we are seeing are these things break out on a catastrophic level. On a catastrophic level. And that's where it starts to make you think, why so many catastrophic level events are happening lately? It's not just that they're happening. It's the level, it's the magnitude at which they're happening. And that's where I look at it. That's what I'm looking at.
Just a couple of weeks ago here in Connecticut, we had a massive egg farm burned down. An egg farm of all times when we were in the middle of a chicken and egg shortage.
On top of the bird flus that are happening around the country, on top of chicken feed rendering the reproduction of chickens to produce eggs useless. People are having to change from the chicken feed that they're using. This is all over the place. And it's all these small things that are just adding up to wide scale disruption of the system. And you can go, but it's happened before. But if all of this stuff happens all the time and it's recorded all the time, why has it never disrupted the system the way that it is, unless it is the intention for it to disrupt the system?
I agree. No,
And
Redoubt Productions says a zillion catastrophes happen every day on various scales, but what mainstream media decides to highlight, how they decide to highlight it, when they decide to do it, is what's important to consider. And where are they always trying to direct our attention? So.
Well, it really doesn't help that 90% of our news media is owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
propaganda.
Oh,
This brings me back to my point. Well, it's propaganda. It's making you feel helpless. It's designed to make you pissed off, feel helpless, and like take occupancy in your mind. It's actually not allowing you to shut up. So it's always there. You're always going to be thinking about this stuff. I'm starting to realize now, even me before now, like there's a static, just this noise, and then you find out how to shut it up and ground out that energy. And the mental clarity allows you to see through the lies so easily. It's just you accept truths, you see through shit, and the way to do it is.
But I
not
like my
seek out
conspiracy
news.
theories better.
So I don't seek out news. I let the news find me. I didn't know anything about that balloon thing because I don't like go look at news stuff. Like I'm in a hole over here. I don't care. Supporting life.
Oh no,
you
the
don't
balloon
give a
thing
shit.
was a misdirection. That
It'll
was
help you a lot.
The balloon thing was misdirection. I didn't pay attention to that at all.
Well,
that was totally
I didn't
wrong.
even know about it. The way I found out about it, I was at work doing a job at some guy's house, and he had on Fox News. He's like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And lo and behold, I find out about this news. And then Friday night, Iron Age Nights comes on, and Richard makes that joke about the balloon and everything like that. But I never would have known about that, and then now I've done that job. Like that seeks me out. I don't seek out information; it seeks me out. I think everyone started doing that. The world will get a little bit easier on the anxiety.
I categorically disagree with you because I think that's what I believe that's what people have done for the last many generations.
Yeah.
Most people don't seek out information. In fact, usually the people who are initiated in politics are less than 17% of the overall population. So most people are not seeking out this information. Most people, I would posit that probably, unless they're affected by it or they pay attention to the political world at all, the Ohio train derailment disaster was probably known by less than, I'll be liberal about this one, 30% of the American population.
Yeah.
Dude, I know people
I'll go to
in
the bar and
Ohio
ask someone
that
about
I
it. Let's see
game
if they know.
with. They didn't even know about it.
Yep. They were too busy with their own life.
I would say 1 in 3 people probably. One in 3 people may know about it, maybe less.
Brings me back to my point. This is why I allow information to seek me out, because apparently I need to know this information. God's determining that I need to know this thing. If it's that small a thing, and therefore I know it now, thanks to just my people that I hang out with, random sources that just kind of come across, I guess I need to know it for some reason.
Well, one of the other weird, interesting things I found out with the people talking about the news coverage and everything is there's 3 groups that have that are like some of the larger shareholders of Norfolk Southern, which includes Vanguard, BlackRock, and another group that I don't remember the name of.
The largest hedge funds in the Western world.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they also own a large portion of CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox.
Yeah, that's why I tell people all the time that Fox News and CNN are owned by the same people.
And if you want to know who's paying their bills, look at the commercials.
Well, you can't even
And ask your doctor if this is right for you.
Technically, you can't even trust
Yeah, no, it's
PBS News because PBS News is affiliated with BBC, and guess who owns half of BBC?
Well, I mean,
Probably some
PBS
groups.
is the public broadcasting system. They've been
It
government
is,
funded
but
forever.
they are contracted with
Yeah.
BBC, which is the British Broadcasting System, British Broadcasting Channel. But here's the problem: Disney owns part of the BBC,
Oh boy.
so it goes back to Disney.
Dang rodent.
Baji Chan, you're going down rabbit holes. Even I'm just like I don't like that. No, but you're right. No, but you're right. You're absolutely right. And like I said,
the only reason why I know that is because I used to go to the BBC for my international news because the U.S. news was so biased that I used to go to them. And then they made BBC America, and I'm like, why the hell is it BBC America? Why not just the regular BBC? And then I looked into it. That's because they're contracted with Disney.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Disney's a multinational, we all know that, corporation. A conglomerate. It's a media powerhouse right now. I watched a video today showing what they've done for censorship on Disney Plus so far, like kind of go back and tweaking stuff. And most of it they show was like camera guys. They kind of edited out camera guys. And I know they did an inconsistency with the, they said the Statue of Liberty was green and it turned copper, and I guess later Miss Marvel it was green. They had to post edit to be copper again and stuff like that. They're going back and editing it. One thing they're really editing is violence and blood. They're getting rid of a lot of that stuff, and the only reason that they could be doing that is for overseas markets, right? Like China, basically. They don't allow blood and violence in their movies. America didn't care about that for the longest time. Now all of a sudden Disney Plus is making a kind of big deal about this stuff. It seems obvious what it is. It's the markets overseas.
Hey Trippy, I have a question for you. You ask why would you know about those situations? And I think from my perspective, why I'm into politics to begin with is, I look at my yearly salary and I see that 40% of it is gone, meaning that let's assume.
I mean, essentially, you work, 3-4 months out of the year and don't get
5
paid.
hours a day. 5 hours a day of my life is going to the government. Where does that go? That's where my interest starts to be. Who am I working for exactly?
Yo.
Yeah, if they're spending my money, I want to see what they bought.
Programs.
Yep. And that's where my interest, and that's why I'm digging into it. That's why I have protests, personally.
No, and like I said, when you start looking into all of this and you start understanding a lot of the federal regulations and the way that regulations are designed in such a way to fool the public innately. And so it's, again, coming from the natural gas and oil world, like I am well aware, going back to that 1 liter of spilled, hazardous chemical. That's why they say, well, the oil field is so absolutely catastrophic to the environment, because look at how many spills there are. But the problem is that unless you actually know where to go, and they keep that buried, but unless you actually go and you pull up the actual documentation itself of the reports that are filed, all you will see is number of recorded spills. And it is in the thousands. But again, most of it are small. You can pick it up and clean it up with a shovel. No harm, no foul. You put it in a trash bag, and then you put it in a hazmat container that you take off site. And then there are places to dispose of that, right? It's all handled properly. But all that is recorded and easy to find, especially under public documentation, when it comes to things like that, is the number of recorded spills. And when people think a spill, everybody thinks big operation, big spill. Not necessarily true. Federal regulation is designed in such a way to make you think that things that are happening on the day-to-day happen all the time. And when you actually start to look into, and some of these regulations, and you've worked on the other end of them, you start to realize, oh, hey, the public isn't getting the proper information because they're only getting a small chunk of it, right? And that's why when they say, well, fires in factories happen every year, look at this amount, they're all recorded, and people go, oh, okay, well, yeah, fires happen all the time. And it's like, okay, but factories don't burn down by the dozens like they have this last year. That is not true. They're using federal regulation in a way that is there for gaslighting, right?
It's like fires happen in the kitchen all the time, but they don't necessarily always burn the house down.
Yeah, exactly. My wife sets off the fire alarm all the time. And that's just because we have a fire alarm that's placed really badly. But the joke still stands, right? But the house doesn't burn down. And so if you recorded the amount of fire alarms that went off, right, and just said, oh, houses burn down all the time, look at how many times a fire alarm goes off every year. And you're using the disingenuousness of doing, correlation instead of actual causation, which is what most federal regulation leads you to believe. That's where you get into this idea that, oh, well, people are just connecting the dots where dots don't exist. And that's not necessarily true. And it's because we're so ensconced in this idea that, the federal government pushes out these ideas of correlation instead of actual causation, right? It's almost impossible to go in and find causation, right? But you can go and find correlation, and most people run with that as the absolute gospel truth, but they're missing crucial details. And that's really what just burns me on this whole thing is you meet a lot of people that, well, it happens all the time. No, it doesn't. You're talking about small, minor incidents that happen all the time. You're not talking about catastrophic events. Do not happen all the time. They happen infrequently. You may get a few of them a year, and that sucks.
Yeah.
But Billy, I haven't seen Billy Bobsack in a hot minute. Oh no, wait, he was on Sunday Coffee.
Well, there he is in all his Ferengi glory.
See,
Yeah, I'm bringing sexy back to the galaxy.
bringing sexy back.
At least this officially the stream is no longer transphobe because now you got representation.
There you go.
There you
Check
go.
that box. Check.
Does
Yeah,
Quark
that-
count? He's not human. Or was that? I just did a racist.
Yeah, you done the
Yeah.
speech.
Come on.
I've offended the great Ferengis, and now they're going to sue me.
Mm.
Yeah, you'll be hearing from the grand niggas.
The-
But I'm thinking some of the Project Veritas and stuff is part of that's timing. They found out stuff. He gets let go, and I'm wondering if he may have been working on something similar to the Ohio incident.
I think it was the Pfizer story because all of this kicked off right after the Pfizer story came out.
We found out that fucking evidently Project Veritas has a board of members.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now they don't now they don't have what makes them Project Veritas, so I don't see them lasting
Yeah.
very long, or not in the capacity that they have been. Because wherever James O'Keefe goes, he's going to just keep doing his thing, and everybody's going to watch him do his thing, and Project Veritas is going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
Has
Yes,
Project
Project
Veritas
Veritas.
always been a public traded company?
No,
No,
it has not. No, Project Veritas was originally the name that he went under when he started undercover work back in the day. The Acorn, if you actually were around or knew about what was going on with Acorn and the community organizing companies that were in and around the Obama administration and how the money actually flowed through them, the ties to the Obama administration project, that was his first like big story that he blew the doors open on. And it wasn't until years later when he actually ended up getting a board of directors. He's not a publicly traded company. I believe he's a 501c3.
He's a nonprofit. Well,
He is a nonprofit. He might not be a 501c3. It's the other one because there's a couple of different nonprofits.
Yeah, there's
but
two
he is
of
a
them.
non. Yeah, but he is a nonprofit. So no, he is not a publicly traded company. But originally it was just him, a name, and a camera, and him just trying to seek out the BS that he saw.
I
Now,
think the
A.S.
one-
Burner, what is the Alethea Initiative?
that sounds familiar for some reason.
It's Greek.
What is Project Veritas?
Project Truth. Veritas is the Latin word for truth. So you have Aquitas and Veritas, which are truth and justice. So it might be Project Justice. I cannot remember off the top of my head. My Latin's out of date.
Veritas is truth.
Veritas is truth. Yes.
It's a dead language. It doesn't go out of date.
Oh, no, but hey, see, I wasn't wrong. Aletheia, I wasn't wrong. It is Greek. Ancient Greek feminine noun as truth. So yeah, so it would be the Greek version of truth instead of the Latin version of truth.
Okay.
Okay.
So, God, I hated Greek. That's the one language that God, I hated Greek. I hate its letters. I hate its damn alphabet. I hate.
We got a cool mythology, though.
No, they do, but their language sucks. Like it's not a romance language, so it sucks.
Gecko Man, you're in the stream. You can just tell Maji right here.
No, I don't want to interrupt you, people.
Just
fuck
go
Roy.
for it.
Fuck Royce, interrupt his ass.
That's true.
Oh no, that is
okay,
something different. I can't read either of them.
From what
but
I've
there you go.
understood from Kikoman, that it's some sort of whistleblower protection program.
Who's that?
The Project Veritas was originally like a whistleblower protection program that they share things but keep the guy anonymous. No?
No.
That was news.
No.
Okay, so
They
it is
have done
Project
that, and they
Veritas.
grew to that eventually. But back in 2007, James O'Keefe and I can't remember the lady's name who was with him. Again, they went undercover to the community organizing of groups that were. That's where a lot of the idea of like ballot harvesting and all this stuff and changing that's where a lot of this came from, was back in 2007. And if you guys wanted to learn about it, go back and see how they did. But the corporations that were going after, the community organizing corporations, were Acorn was the big one, right? Acorn, and we actually found out through Acorn that they were through Project
Acorn, that sounds
Veritas.
familiar.
Yes, they were actually funded. They were actually a funded group by George Soros, and a lot of the money came from there, funneled down through, and was actually circulating back and going in through PACs back into the Democratic Party and all that. It was a major freaking story back then. He did do some protection later on, but that wasn't until the 2010s for the whistleblower protection type stuff. But yeah, no. That was much later on. Yeah, Project Veritas. They grew fairly rapidly because they had a couple of big hitter stories, and then when he got dragged to court over a few of these things, he didn't back down because they tried to hit him for like libel or whatever's in video form, libel or slander or defamation or whatever. And turns out in the court proceedings, they found out that, oh, wait, he was actually telling the truth. And retractions even had to come out and be printed because there was one story they ended up getting some information incorrect on, and he took it on the chin on that one for quite a while. And but outside of all of that, every court case he's been in, he's won because he just reports the facts. He doesn't try to twist the narrative or anything like that. He presents it in an entertaining way, but presentation isn't narrative. But yeah, like I said, I remember. Let's see, 2007. So I was 15 when I came across Project Veritas for the first time.
Yeah, all this just tells us is
who covered Edward Snowden and his leaks? Do you remember?
I thought it was just
everybody.
Yeah.
Wasn't that WikiLeaks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then there was Snowden, and who's the other guy?
Julian Assange.
Yeah, and then Assange. Yeah, and pretty much everybody covered those guys. Well, I guess not everybody. Not a lot of the mainstream people covered them because obvious reasons. I mean, they're owned by people, and
some people try to gaslight about Edward Snowden.
What do you mean?
He was honorable about with his wife and kids, even though he was cheating on his wife with the fucking Russian spy chick.
I mean, she was Russian, so.
I know, but they try to make him out like he's this sweet little angel.
Yeah.
No, and that's one of the.
To this day, I am undecided on whether or not I trust Snowden and what he, his whistleblowing. I don't know. He's. On one hand, it's like, is he telling us stuff we need to know? On the other hand, I'm like, is he full of it? I don't know whether
the little bit
he says.
The little bit that I know is that Assange is more of the honest actor out of the two.
Yeah.
But Snowden was, there's a lot there back and forth, but I believe Assange was more of the trustworthy one based off of the little because there was a lot in all that, like, and it was all coming out at the same time, and it was.
Hey, not to be
overwhelms the brain pretty quick.
Yeah, not to be completely off topic, but did anyone know what was going on with Sydney Watson, the other dude? Where she was like suing him or some shit?
And Elijah Schaefer, yeah, Sydney Watson.
I know.
So, do you guys know that story at all?
I know some of it.
I heard it exists, and that's all I know about it.
Okay, so
I watched You Are Here religiously.
Okay, so you're okay. So then Kikomon understands like I do because I actually watched. You Are Here was one of the nightly shows that I would watch because, when you're living on the road and you need something to watch, like, no.
The only reason I know it is because of Eric July's stream.
Yeah. So basically, Sydney Watson was cracks a Busch Light apple. God, that's disgusting. I don't like cracking a Busch Light, but I can't drink good beer all the time. So no. So Sydney Watson was a co-host on the Blaze. Mostly it was a Blaze exclusive show, but it was also aired on YouTube as well. It was called You Are Here. The two co-hosts were Eliza Schaefer and Sydney Watson. Sydney Watson is actually an immigrant from Australia, and her religious belief, she is an atheist, and that kind of factored into the show a little bit. And then Elijah Schaefer Eliza Schaefer has been known. He was actually one of the guys that was in the Capitol on January 6th reporting what was happening. They tried to pull charges on him, but he wasn't. He was just there reporting what was happening, showing people what was going on. Elijah Schaefer actually went into he made his bones by going into all of the really, really dangerous areas back when the Antifa riots were happening, the Summer of Love, and going into the places like the Chop, what is it, the Chaz. Well, there was one called the Chop, and then there was another one called the Chaz. Basically, the no-go zones. Went in there, And then kept going back after death threats were put out for him, and eventually the Blaze, who was and I think there were a couple people that had the absolute holy hell beat out of them because they thought that it was Elijah Schaefer. But anyway, so Elijah Schaefer made his bones doing that. Very, very politically, just exuberant person. Not necessarily my cup of tea personally. But if they had good, he ends up going on to the Blaze, starting a show with Sydney Watson, and then they ended up having, like, if they had good guests on, they would have like Eric July on. They I believe they had Anna, that Star Wars girl. They had Nick Rekieta on. They had Alex Jones on at one point in time. And that was great. You can't forget about that one. That's where the downhill started. But Elijah Schaefer is just an out there personality, and he doesn't hold back. He's one of those guys that if he thinks it, it just comes out. He would make, very, very sexual jokes, very out there jokes, and definitely not really a professional person. And supposedly the lawsuit now, after everything is said and done, because that's where the whole Jack Murphy incident comes from, was from that show. Like, Jack Murphy ruined himself on that show. I have
seen those clips. I never sat and watched their show, but I recognize Sydney Watson. I didn't recognize the guy with her.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that clip because everybody played that everywhere.
Yeah,
and didn't he take some of the pictures from Rittenhouse, or some of the video was used?
He was there. He was there on the ground during when all that happened. He watched Rittenhouse fucking ice those guys, I believe.
Him and Drew Hernandez. And I think a lot of their clips were the stuff that were used to prove Rittenhouse safely conducted himself.
Yes. And it was Drew Hernandez in his footage, because Elijah wasn't recording at the time. And so pours mango cart down drain. No, fuck off.
I'm just gonna sip my green tea and call it good.
And so basically what happens is, after everything happens after the Jack Murphy incident, the show essentially just dies pretty much right there. Come to find out, Sydney Watson was very unhappy with the direction of the show because it was a very volatile show at times. And Sydney Watson definitely always got overshadowed on it. She comes across as more of a timid person, and you put her in a room with like Elijah Schaefer, that guy he's just going to overpower you. He's just going to steamroll you. And so essentially the lawsuit is that she went to the Blaze and said that the Blaze needed to talk with him about his conduct on the show, some of the misogynist things that he was saying, the jokes that he was saying, his temperament, his character, all of that. The Blaze didn't do anything about it. Eventually the show falls apart. She's out. She leaves. And now she's claiming that the Blaze owes her about $1.2 million. Now, I don't know the conditions of the contractual agreement, but if for some reason the Blaze was in violation of the contractual agreement, I believe that she is owed that $1.2 million. Obviously, if the Blaze is not in violation of that. And like, I will say this, I actually watched You Are Here, and Elijah, especially when he would start drinking, like, that guy would get sauced on stream. Like, half a bottle of whiskey, 3/4 of a bottle of whiskey, sauced on stream, and just kind of go off the rails. And it kind of made it hard to watch a lot of episodes. But yeah, and like I said, Elijah, not really my cup of tea, but yeah. And yes, and supposedly he did know. And Whimsyland is not wrong. Elijah Schaefer did get canned by the Blaze. He was removed from the Blaze. And supposedly the little bit that we got, I'm assuming there's non-disclosure agreements there, but the little bit of information that came out were that he was making certain remarks to other female employees, remarks and or gestures towards other female employees that was making
Gonzalez lady. But there's another point that should be mentioned, that the lawsuit happened after the fact that they've changed that whole channel to the Alex Stein channel. Like,
no, but that happened recently. This lawsuit has been, they've been filing and going back and forth with the lawsuit. The lawsuit was filed a while ago.
Did she leave the company by her own terms, or is she fired?
That's the problem, is that there were conditional things in, I think, her contract, or things that she was led to believe by the Blaze, and that it gets a little murky there. And so because of the conduct held by the other person on the show, which put her in a place that she didn't want to be, if she can prove that there was conduct that made her uncomfortable, and that she went to the higher ups in the Blaze to try to get that conduct corrected, and that at a certain point she had to back out of the contract for that because of the Blaze's negligence, then it does ultimately come down to the Blaze. It's not just, oh, did she quit or did they fire her? It's, why did she quit? Did she quit because she felt that the contract was in violation, or because of other potential lawsuits, and then that cost her the rest of the money of her contract?
Yeah, I think some of the problems that people had with a bunch of the stuff going on was the court case sounded very, or whatever it was her lawyer brought sounded very SJW-esque. And so people were kind of, is she right?
Or she doesn't seem like the kind that would go SJW.
Well, I'm just
from what I've seen anyway.
I think she just ended up with a bad lawyer.
Well, it comes down to is if they were or it sounded like she was suing over someone else's free speech, which you're a fucking cuck if you do that.
No, but it wasn't the free speech aspect of it. It was things behind the scenes. I actually am going to excuse myself as well, but from everything that I'm gathering, essentially Elijah Schaefer just kind of acts like a jackass and makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And when that was brought to the attention of the Blaze, nothing was done about it. And it made people highly uncomfortable to the point where, eventually even Elijah Schaefer got fired for it. So that's what leads me to believe that her lawsuit may have some merit here. And I think you're right, Raven Nevermore. I think her lawyer just kind of screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah. Whimsy Land said Schaefer has Nick Fuente's energy, in his opinion. Shock.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wrangler, your mic's fuzzy. Sorry, you didn't even say anything, and I can hear it crackling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
like
not
got
bad.
that white noise spooky movie feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds very dramatic. It's better than anything I've really seen on TV recently.
I know, that's the sad
But
thing.
this is all news to me. I don't even know half these names. Like I said, I don't really follow a lot of stuff. Eric July is actually one of the first commentators I started following on YouTube, just because he agrees with my opinions. And I'm like, I knew something was up, and around 2020 and then COVID, that really woke me up and okay, what's going on here? And then I had Disney Plus for the first Mandalorian season, and I had some hopes, and then I saw the direction I was going. I'm like, okay. First I stumbled
John
on
Favreau still trying to. Did you say Star Wars Mandalorian or?
Yeah, because I wanted to watch season 1, and it seemed legit, and it was all right, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I like season 1.
Yeah, season 1, it started good, but then it just, Disney did their thing. They just went off the rails the past couple of years. So
part of me wants to
really
see
went
the
crazy.
Indiana Jones train wreck. Another part of me doesn't, because I hated the Crystal Skull.
Yeah. The Crystal Skull was bad.
That's okay, because after this one, Crystal Skull's going to look awesome.
I don't know that anything can make Crystal Skull look awesome. Maybe not as bad as we previously thought.
Well, okay, so what's funny about Crystal Skull is Bolt was making fun of it long before it was ever made. Are you guys familiar with the movie Bolt with the little dog?
Yeah. I think I've seen it once. Way back
He
in the
thought
day.
he was a superhero, but it turns out he was just an actor. But they were totally making fun of it because at the end of the movie, this was long before Crystal Skull even came out. The end of the movie, a pigeon approaches him with an idea for a new script, and he's like, wait for it, aliens. And they're like, what? And he's like, think about it. How cool would that be? We don't know how to end it, so we pop in aliens. That's the perfect ending.
Oh, goodness.
What was Crystal
When the
Skull?
aliens try and talk to him, Short Round will pop up, say, "You call him Dr. Jones."
So I just thought it was funny that Crystal Skull resulted to aliens because Bolt was totally making fun of the fact that that's an option.
But with
Weird
Crystal
option.
Skull, it's not going to be like Star Wars because like I was a big fan growing up of the original 3 Star Wars movies, and then the prequels came out, and I was quite upset with them just because they like ignored a lot of the stuff that was in the books. Now, what I mean by that is the way they talk about Luke and Leia's mother and stuff and all that sort of things in the books. I don't know how much the first 3 movies covered it. Eric July, how you found this place? Been listening to his political opinions since probably 16 or so. Yeah. But the prequels came out, and it was I did not like them at all. And then the sequels came out, and it's like, okay, I'm fine with the prequels because at this point, Star Wars. Well,
That's what I'm saying. This Dial of Destiny is going to have that effect on Crystal's Kingdom of the Plastic Skull.
My frustration with the prequel was that they just weren't Star Wars. They were like a pretty interesting sci-fi thing, but it just wasn't Star Wars to me. But then once you come out with the sequels, it's like, well, okay, if this is the way Star Wars is going, is just yet another sci-fi thing, then fine.
I wasn't so bothered by that. I know, I remember everybody couldn't stand the prequels when they first came out. I watched them. I'm like, what's so wrong with that? I mean, maybe because I wasn't a huge Star Wars fan. I enjoyed it, but I didn't really get into it. So maybe I'm missing something that hardcore fans saw. I was more of a Trek guy.
Yeah,
I grew up with them, so I have a bias.
Yeah, same here. And like, I remember going to the theater, and the theater having a chandelier and stuff, and like people wearing ritzy clothes and stuff to see the first movie, and having that thing rumble across the screen as a little kid just like completely changed my world. And it was an awesome set of 3 movies, but then I went on to read like the majority of the books. There just ended up being so many books that it was hard to keep up with all of them. Plus,
I read Vector Prime by R.A. Salvador.
Some of the series, like some of the mainline series, I guess, was just getting crazier and crazier because they destroyed the first Death Star, then they destroyed the second Death Star, then they destroyed the prototype Death Star, then I think they destroyed another Death Star-esque like one, and then they had the Sun Crusher. Which forget about destroying planets. This turns like a sun into a black hole or something. I don't remember what it was, but it was something even ridiculously bigger. And it's just like, okay, I'm done with the main story.
At some point, they got to bring it back down to a tighter personal story because you can't just keep going bigger and bigger every time.
Well, technically, the sequels are just badly rewrites of the originals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first one is
an element of failure to each one.
The first 2 are.
I'm not gonna tangent on that. I agree with everything you guys are
will.
saying. Go for it.
I hate The Last Jedi. That movie sucks dick. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, riding horses across the top of a spaceship is not going to be a way to defeat.
Maji, in the beginning of The Last Jedi, when they had the fucking bombing scene, the bitch literally opens the hatch into open space, and they can breathe, no problem. There's no fucking, what's it called? When the air sucks
barrier.
Through.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least in, what was it? Oh, goodness. The one where
Alien Resurrections got this right. That's how they defeat the fucking alien babies. They break the hole in the window, and it sucks it through into outer space.
Well, like even in the early Star Wars movie where they land on the asteroid and they get out, they are wearing rebreathers, but I think the other issue was that they were inside the shield barrier.
Well, they were also inside of a fucking worm.
Yeah.
During the scene too.
Now I want to address what Redoubt Productions is saying down here. He said, "I followed politics with a microscope throughout the pandemic, listening to alternative media outlets daily. But after the most recent election, I realized my vote didn't matter. Got to build culture. Yes to the building culture. I would not go so far as to say vote doesn't matter, because
I think
even
it
if the
matters on the
shady
local scale.
tactics are in play, you got to get out there and do that, because you got to overwhelm that.
Play by the rules that they're playing by.
Yep.
They made the rules legal. Play by them. Go for
Well,
it. And that's the one thing that. Nope, not going to tangent. Sorry.
Remember that your
They're not-
local
I don't think they're even playing
About
rules.
all that though,
They make their own
they
rules.
underestimate the local ability to put people in office because they all want the big ones, the Senate, the Congress, the federal level. If you infiltrate the local, look what the stupid left have done. They've completely infiltrated the local and then controlled it up all the way up to the mains. So
Yeah,
that's
well-
where we have to start. We have to start with the local. We have to start with the state representatives, not so much the federal representatives, but you get the right people into the state representatives, and then they put the people into power. That's right.
Yeah.
I used to
well,
listen to this guy on Sirius Radio. Mike Church. He constantly said everything comes from the local elections. They are more important than the federal, because
Yeah.
you got to build up the community, or else that's how they get you. When you got no community, they can control you.
Yeah, well, look at the new state of New California. That's like, I think it's almost like 90% of the counties in California have said, we're not being represented, so we're going to go create our own state.
And then they were told no.
They're not allowed
Sorry.
to.
We're
I think,
the-
no, I think it's illegal. You're not allowed to secede. They've made the federal.
they're
the
not seceding from the federal government. They're
Thanks,
seceding from
Abraham.
the
Yeah,
similar to West Virginia did during the Civil War.
Okay, okay. But you got guys. But how are the cities in California going to vote away the water rights of the farmers if the farmers all leave? You're not seeing the big picture.
Exactly. Besides, looking at this map, if I'm understanding it properly, I don't see it working very well at all.
Yeah, well, I think they are going to have to secede some land from their want. But the thing is that this is the majority of the state wants to separate from the majority of the people because they're not being represented.
Is San Diego red? What's at the bottom? Well, even San Diego's red. Look at that.
Yeah, San Diego is one of the few places that actually apparently is. Well, but it's the population centers. The population centers, when you start getting people on top of people on top of people, people tend to go, oh, well, take that person's right away so they don't screw with me. And that's usually how it is.
Redoubt Alien Resurrections was, I think it was written or it was directed as a comedy, and one of it was written, it was supposed to be serious. Like the writer and the director were on 2 fucking pages.
The purpose of a governmental infrastructure is blocks upon blocks. Maji Chan is right. However, the local elections in major cities are the issue. Yeah, like here in Connecticut, it's like Hartford, I think Bridgeport and Waterbury. However, those 3 cities vote is where the state goes. Pretty much the entire rest of the state can vote the opposite. It doesn't matter.
Controls all of Washington.
So
I mean, Denver and Fort Collins and Boulder control Colorado, and that's why I had to leave. Like, it didn't matter that 80% of Colorado voted a different way, because and that's what you get with democracy. That's why I always tell people, like, democracies are doomed to fail.
Well, that's why we're a republic. We just have some democratic
Should
process.
be a republic.
But
We
everybody
should be a
goes around
republic.
saying we're a democracy. No, democracy.
Democracies are worse than communism. The only thing worse than communism is a democracy.
Well, democracy is communism.
No, it's not.
Wrangler,
It's not.
Yeah.
But it's.
can you pull up the voting districts of Washington? You guys got to see this.
Hey, what's going on, James Craig?
because I believe there's counties in both Washington and Oregon that want to go and join Idaho.
Yeah.
And there's also counties in Colorado that want to join
Wyoming.
Yeah, Wyoming.
I was in the one county in the state. I will say this: when all the mask lockdowns and stuff, Weld County. I was in Weld County, and Weld County gave it about a month, and then they were like, "All right, we're done with this." And then when old fucking pole smoker over there, I'm sorry, Polis, my bad. When Polis, there's a gay joke there because he's gay. Anyway, when he Sorry, I really don't like that guy. Although he could have been much worse than he actually was, but when he told the counties that they were to go out and arrest people for gatherings and stuff like that, Weld County said, we have more important things to do. Go screw yourself. And Weld County was one of the few counties that stood up against, because we're the oil. We produced all the, natural gas actually, but we had all the natural gas money. And so you're not going to piss the people off that make you money. I mean, agriculture, natural gas, the little bit of oil that was being drilled out there, Weld County was awesome because we were still going out to restaurants. We were still, living normal lives in Weld County, and go one county over, and it was terrifying. It was totally, you would be jailed one county over.
I was looking at some of the history of Colorado and how it was formed out of multiple different territories, because it was part of Kansas territory, part of Nebraska territory, and it seemed like it was the counties out of Nebraska territory that were wanting to secede to Wyoming. And then there's like Utah territory and goodness, I don't remember what the other two were. I think California or something else.
Yeah, I don't remember, man. It's been a long time.
Just a hodgepodge.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's also one of the only states in the union that's like a perfect square. But
it's square for being square.
All right, so what are we looking at here? Washington State. What are we looking at? What hellscape are we going to?
90% of the population for the state of Washington is right along the coastline. The entire state is divided. Not even the entire state. The state has this long range of mountains: Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood. It's basically
are any of these maps what you're looking for, Monty?
I was trying to show the Republican and Democrat party districts, but you can see if you look around the Seattle area, that's the only Democratic section around this whole state, is around the Seattle coastline. But the rest of it is just so outnumbered. That's why Washington is trying to go off into Idaho, is because if you're on
Didn't they want to be the state of Jefferson? Weren't they going to try to join with like Northern California? Or
I think that was said in the chat down here somewhere.
Yeah.
But what it is if you live on the left side of the mountain range, you represent the entire state's quote unquote political ideas because of how densely populated those areas are. If you go to the right of the Cascadia Mountains, they're all Republicans. That's why they've been voting like crazy to try to just branch off, because literally the state is divided, and all the representation, because the population is around Seattle, is all the wokest right leftists, man. They are the extremes of the extremes.
Maji, that's why they'll never do state electoral college.
Wouldn't that be fantastic if they would, though?
Dude,
God.
Every state would be fucking red.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
That's the thing, is that I think most of them at least were supposed to, but then there was a bunch of them that voted to decide, we'll just do whatever the majority wants.
No. So, wait. Are you referring to how the states set up their own internal state elections, or are you referring to the interstate compact that was trying to be passed a few years ago?
So there was definitely the interstate compact, but that's more on the federal.
So you're not referring to that. Sorry, I just needed to make sure you're not referring to that. Okay, cool. So I get you. Yeah, so okay, I think I see what you're saying now, Raven. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, and so I think there was a number of counties in Washington and Oregon that wanted to join together, and now I think both sets have decided that their best thing is they got to join Idaho.
My wife has unironically said that she's like, women shouldn't have the right to vote. My wife has unironically said that, and I'm like, all right, babe, why? And chaos ensues after that.
Most of them are too
I don't think it's women. I just unfortunately think it's morons.
There's also a matter, like, for example, in California. Do you know why they like being sanctuary state? because they get a lot of
A lot
people
more
who end up
representation.
being. Well, what it does is it
The
increases
census.
their population. So even though they
Yeah.
don't come in and they're not allowed to vote, technically they're not allowed to vote.
Yes,
Even if
because
they're
the number.
not, the number of citizens gives them more electoral seats in Washington.
Yeah, well,
Yep,
the-
and the House of Representatives, based off the House of Representatives, is based off of population, not number of citizens. And
Yeah.
so, thusly, that means that as long as they keep bringing more people in, they can keep getting more House of Representatives.
Yep.
Wow, they shit a brick when what's his name in Texas was starting to just fucking ship them everywhere. Just got them on the bus and went go to Washington
yeah.
D.C.
That
bitches.
fixed nothing, but it was hilarious.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing: is he didn't just ship them everywhere. He shipped them to all the most richest, fanciest parts of the city, and all them rich lefty sons of bitches. They like. I apologize for cussing on your stream, Wrangler. My bad.
Oh, that ship has sailed
He
tonight.
does it
No
all
worries.
the
Okay, it was a thing, but dude, they sent it to the hoity-toity of the hoity-toityest areas, and they're like, the brown people are here. We need to get the brown people away, sweetheart. The property values are diving.
Yeah, we support them as long as they're not near us.
What was that island? The island. It was
Oh,
specifically that one.
Martha's
Martha's
Vineyard.
Vineyard,
Yeah,
Right
where
off the
Obama
coast
lives.
over here.
Yeah, where Obama lives.
That was
Because he's worried about climate change. So he went and bought something in the Highlands there.
Yeah.
Well, Seattle started bussing all the homeless up north because they were trying to change the reputation of the city after the homeless took the capital.
See.
yeah.
And so they've been literally sending them on buses and dropping them off here on the island and other places.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. Simon Ateba or something. He's he is a reporter for oh goodness, one of, like some Africa news media. I don't remember which one it is. But I recently saw him on a podcast with LFR and his one of his friends talking. Just talking to him about his time in DC and what he's come to find out and stuff. And he came here from Africa and he didn't know anything about DC or what was going on and stuff. And he was told that the Democrats are the good people. They try to do everything. And the Republicans are the bad people. They hate people and stuff. And he started talking with people and he found out that things were a lot more different than how it was explained to him. It was really interesting.
That's because they really they put that in. They put it into the cultural zeitgeist, the pop culture. That's kind of the trope. Democrats are the cool, hip, and happening people. Republicans are a bunch of Alex P. Keatons in stuffy suits and ties, and that's it.
Yeah.
And people still buy into that when
so weird.
really it's the other way around.
Well, may I push back on that a little bit? It's only the other way around when it's on a national stage in a debate. But if you actually look at the voting records of most of these people, the Republicans vote the same way as the Democrats do.
At the federal level,
75% of the time.
Yeah,
even on a lot of local levels, even on a lot, not all, but a lot. It's part of the reason I live in a tasteless fucking state right now that doesn't know how to cook anything is because the politics of Iowa happened to be the direction that I wanted to go and the people that I wanted to be around and getting better on gun laws and all that. And then I moved here and then I couldn't find a green chili burrito for breakfast anywhere.
That's
And
why I'm
I
still in Connecticut. Here in New England, we got great clam chowder.
I don't even have that. I don't even have that. I have badly cooked steak. They don't know. They're terrible cooks here. I can't. There is one place that I have been to since I've moved to Iowa. And it is called Blue Barn Barbecue, and it's over in like Cedar Rapids, Waterloo area.
That just sounds good.
Dude, but they smoke everything. They smoke all their meats, freshly house-made barbecue
Trippy,
sauces
you're into that,
every
right?
day.
nice.
It's
Yeah, I love smoking.
fucking trippy. Not that kind of smoking. I told somebody, I was like, yeah, I got to go smoke, get the smoker ready. And people were like, wait, I thought you couldn't smoke. And I was like, The
What?
fuck are you guys talking
Don't
about?
complain, or you don't like soy sauce, so screw
I
it.
It's because it's fucking gross.
No, it's
It's
not.
fucking gross. It's overly salted, like a brown juice that you pour on something that's already salty to make it more salty.
So what you're saying, Royce, is you now see why there's the stereotype of
And it's a phytoestrogen.
of bland white people food.
Kikomon,
Dude,
almost
I
voted
don't.
for
I'm
the
sorry. Have you ever eaten Italian food from like actual Italian? They're white as fuck, and their food ain't bland. Have you ever?
American white. American. He meant
Yeah,
American.
no.
Oh my
I know.
God! Way to ruin the joke.
Midwest.
I'm saying you're in a specific place of white people
Midwest.
that inherit, or you see why people say that the stereotype of white people is their food is bland as fuck. Specifically, your state, not mine.
It's
not Trippy's, not mine.
terrible. I know. I miss the commie fuckers and their food. Because in Colorado, they're all commie hipster bastards that want to pay high taxes and absolutely eviscerate people with all their. But their food is so good, and they have craft beer, and it makes me. Although I will say this, there are 3 breweries near me that are not bad.
See, the nice thing about Idaho is they had a lot of Hispanic influence, so they got a lot of spicy, real Hispanic food, not south of the border food.
That's what I like about Colorado. Colorodo's the same way. I'm going back there in July. I think it's gonna be awesome. But got a shill. East Broad top R got the first of 6 steam engines running this week. It was a trip to a simpler time with a very complex machine. Interesting.
Is that like your engines or is that like a model railroad?
The fuck is a scrapple?
You've not had Scrapple?
Oh,
Is this
man,
some
I
white
missed the-
people shit?
It's kind of like Snapple, but weirder.
I don't-
Okay, so take it. Okay, here's what I tell people who is not from the U.S. Take
God.
every delectable dish from all around the world, deconstruct it, make it terrible, and that is American cuisine.
But it doesn't have to be. You don't understand.
Our cuisine is the scraps
It's like-
of everybody else's legendary.
So
Not
like
really. I'm from the
I
South, honey.
Oh, I
yeah,
know.
it's true, dude. So like, no, one of the things that my dad taught me how to cook, and obviously we're in a landlocked state, so we can't make. All right, what the fuck is this? Also, oh, it's from the Dutch. Damn it, of course.
A
A
traditional
mush of pork scraps and trimming combined with cornmeal and wheat flour, buckwheat,
That sounds gross.
pan fried before serving. Okay,
Dutch
okay,
roast
that's not. Okay.
Nah, the
I-
Dutch were a mistake.
I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea. Like, it's all right. It's all right.
Mennonites and the Amish.
That's where the fuck I live, dude. Like,
We got some
it's
Amish.
pork bread. It's pork bread. Just say pork bread. It's so strange. But no, it's so my dad was a truck driver and drove all over the U.S. And not only was he a truck driver, but he was also an awesome freaking cook. Still is an awesome cook to this day. And so because he got to drive all over the U.S. and try food from just everywhere, I mean, my dad can cook food from all over the world. And it's fantastic. My dad he'd do stir fry some nights. And my dad, his biggest thing, he always had ground beef in the house.
Don't tell me he did stir fry without soy sauce.
No, he did. We did have soy sauce. I just don't like it. It's
What is this?
gross. But anyway, but he would do stir fry. He would do kraut burgers. Like you guys ever had a kraut burger?
Nope.
Oh, you got to look up what a kraut burger is and just watch somebody make them one day. Oh, it's amazing. My dad do amazing kraut burgers. His homemade Italian, and he grew up with one of his best friends. My dad's best friend grandparents were from Italy. They came over on the boat. And Grandpa Pietro, he was an organ grinder and had his monkeys. And then Grandma, she always stayed home, but she'd start cooking Sunday dinner on Saturday. Like, we're talking real homemade Italian, everything from scratch. My dad knew how to do homemade Italian, knew how to do homemade Mexican food, homemade Southern food, as close to Southern as you can. Billy Bob Sack, sadly, I wish we were in a landlocked state. We couldn't get food fresh out of the ocean, you know. So we use the best ingredients that we could, being in a landlocked state. But my dad taught me how to cook, you know, gumbo and jambalaya and red beans and rice and just, you know, and things like that. Blackened catfish. My dad had family from Arkansas. They go to the Arkansas River and pull catfish out of the Arkansas River, bigger than most of us.
Royce, I'm in a landlocked state.
What the fuck?
Tennessee.
Oh, are you in Tennessee?
Yes.
Oh, that's gay.
wow.
Oh, dude, I was just down in Nashville a few weeks back.
Oh, you should have said something. I could have made it up.
Fuck, we could have. I was only there for one night though, and I was there for a work conference and all that.
Yeah,
So
you didn't have time.
I don't even think I would have had. Well, I might have had a couple hours in the evening. How far away from Nashville are you?
I'm about 2 hours.
Oh shit, yeah, dude. That I don't know if that'd have been worth it because I literally flew in on Tuesday. Didn't get there until like 5 o'clock. Didn't land until 5:30. Got to the hotel around like 6. And then had to do the work conference or the dinner until 8, and then I decided I was just done with the day, the flight travel. Got a 6-pack, drank beer in my room, went to bed, got up, did the conference the next day, went to the hotel. I literally had no time.
Yeah, fuck Nashville.
So my buddy's actually out in Tennessee right now. He works for T-Rex Arms. I don't know if you're familiar with T-Rex Arms at all.
I don't know. But
I haven't
like
heard
the
of it.
name of it.
T-Rex Arms, they're a firearms company. Check them out.
Does your
Free plug.
barbecue place have burnt ends?
Yes, they do.
Okay, because I'm originally from Kansas City, and I love Kansas City barbecue because it's thick, it's tasty and stuff. I moved down to Texas, and it's watery. And I'm like, you can't have burnt ends down here because they have the thick base of barbecue.
Yep.
And I miss
No,
it.
they do a great burnt end. They do great burnt ends at this barbecue. It's the only place in Iowa that I've found that I like to eat. Everywhere else is like slightly above McDonald's level. Like we're talking restaurants too, not fast food joints. Restaurants.
Wow.
Like I take it back. There's one place. There's a sushi joint about 30 minutes north of us. My wife found they're actually pretty good. They got some good sushi in there.
What is the ethnicity of the clientele?
I don't know.
James is writing an anti-hero.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, that one.
Anti-hero. James actually reached out to me and asked about like writing stuff that's a little bit more kid friendly. And A.S. Brunert is what part of Iowa am I from? I'm in the northeast part of Iowa. Like there's almost no Iowa left where I live. I'm very close to Wisconsin and brain. No.
Minnesota.
Yeah, that one. Wherever Kikkoman lives.
Minnesota.
Yeah, no, yeah. Kikkoman's only like 4 hours away from me. Have you heard?
You're within
Royce
range
telling
of a splash of soy.
Oh, okay. Nashville's only 57 miles, but it says an hour and 5 minutes. It's gonna be like 2 fucking hours to get there.
especially with traffic and all that? Yeah.
Now, I wasn't saying Texas barbecue is bad. It's really great.
I love my favorite though, Carolina barbecue, man. Carolina barbecue uses a vinegar base. Oh,
No, I'm sorry. Yuck.
oh. Nope, you're wrong. You're fucking wrong. I don't care. You're wrong. It doesn't matter. You're just wrong. Oh, dude, I love vinegar-based barbecue. I hate stuff that's just too damn sweet. And Eastern European food's pretty good, dude. That's one of the yeah. I agree. Is Eastern European food, they incorporate lamb in a lot of their stuff too, don't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's where lamb and lamb euros, things like that. Ugh.
I love lamb chops.
Oh, dude, they're good.
Or lamb
The
steaks.
only problem with lamb is it's very finicky. You have like literally a 90-second window between rare and overcooked with that stuff.
But if you smoke it, it's amazing.
By the way, I put a link to James Craig's Amazon page down in the chat.
Oh, nice.
I want some smoked salmon.
I'm not from the Midwest. I'm from Colorado, so I'm actually an invader. Get fucked.
West.
Okay.
No, that's
Get
diplomacy.
what the fuck you, gay.
Hey, it's we're probably going to be wrapping this up shortly, but while we're here, there is something I wanted to bring up tonight. I thought I would have gotten into this sooner. But
Sorry,
y'all are
that's
familiar
sidetracked.
with Bonsart from Retro Radio Future, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he has a thing starting up shortly. Let me hit the right button. Boom. Yes.
Royce, you got to give him some hints and tips on this stuff, you know?
What am I doing hints and tips for?
This is his
Greetings, fellow travelers. I am
Launch
Bonsard
trailer.
Vocal to tell you about our
Oh,
second
Legend of
Kickstarter
Shimon.
to help us realize our multiverse of adventure and exploration that I call the Association of Ishtar. Bound for the Sticks is an illustrated novel about Igraine Mortibar's adventures in archaeology, a cobbled together
love this
community
style.
of scavengers built in the ruins
So
of
good.
an ancient
Yeah,
space
this artistry
station
is
that
really
was
good.
abandoned by its creators millennia ago. Now its interior is but a pharaoh grotto with its own.
It
Look at that.
reminds me of a
hostiles in
cross
life. However,
between.
it's also a unique place that offers many possibilities to be investigators.
Modern and
of the
steampunk.
Association
No,
of
like the
Ishtar,
Atlantis,
who are
and then
protecting their
God,
world
what is
from
the
any threats.
would you
lurking
kindly
inside
come
the
on, gamers? Would you
multiverse.
kindly?
I've been working
Bioshock,
on this
Thank you,
Bioshock.
Bioshock.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but it reminds me of a cross between Bioshock and
This
Atlantis.
campaign includes the wrench in the machine and Bound for the Sticks, but we also have 2 fully illustrated supplementary anthologies.
His editing work is so damn good. I'm fucking jealous. I wish I had the time to do that.
He's got a legit studio, recording studio there.
Technologies,
Yeah, he's got all
characters,
that cool
or
stuff.
phenomena encountered
Dude, I
by the
could do that. I just
association, but
don't
it's
have
not
the
just an
time.
immersive document,
Is this a
it's also
comic or is
ideal
it a
for your
tabletop?
Multiverse.
inspired
Both. It's
by
everything.
this
It's all.
Yeah, he's got
Speaking of
novels,
which, we offer
comics.
4 tabletop miniatures
Like Star
and
Shadow, but steampunk.
both novels. If you want to be part of the multiverse itself, you can. We have a draw-in option where you can be drawn as an archaeology
Skunk
scavenger.
says he's been reading it, and it's
You
good.
can get your concepts or characters
Imagine, I wonder.
clicking on our write-in tier. I could tell you more about our first comic or coloring book, but all of these are just mere samples.
Coloring book, hello.
Series.
Fodder for
We're
the
already
children.
Working on
Yep.
new stories and other projects. But
Need
what
that.
I love most about is that we have a creative community where people share their passions to help us expand this multiverse, and it truly feels like an adventure. And I'll hope you'll join us on this journey. And
I know
with
that
being
Razorfist
said,
said he's
ladies and
gonna,
gentlemen, I'm gonna bid you adieu, and of course, make things your way.
Razorfist
Nice.
is doing a little comic as well.
So
Oh,
is
yeah?
Drink 3PO.
I hope it's a Western comic. Razorfist, if it's not a fucking Western comic, go fuck yourself. I want one.
It'd be great.
I just want a really good Western.
I had
story.
a excuse me,
Bless you.
ow balls.
Bless you.
That one actually hurt.
You have no balls.
Eyeballs.
Quit lying.
Oh. No, I
Still
had
not over that sinus pressure?
I had a subscriber of mine on Twitter today. He asked me to. I was like, "Hey, like, what videos do you want me to cover?" And he was like, "Hey, cover the Razor Fist video on Abraham Lincoln." And I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like, everybody knows Abraham Lincoln wasn't a good dude. Like, I've known that for years.
Yeah, a lot of people have it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that haven't.
It's strange. I didn't know all of the stuff that he put in there, but I knew a chunk of it. I knew a good chunk of it.
Like, I put it like this, Royce. A lot of you, like even our favorite YouTubers, didn't even know really all the bad shit with Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
get
pull
you there.
out Steven
Yeah.
Crowder. I've seen him,
Mhm.
before, and I'm like, eh.
I'm not
Only
a
some of it,
Crowder
but
guy.
Not some of the details that he went into.
Oh, why do you have 2 Rumble accounts?
No, I don't.
You do.
So,
I screenshotted it and put it in the.
can you fucking listen?
It's 2, man.
It's not 2 accounts. It's
There are
one
4
account.
likes.
And the problem, and this is why I don't like Rumble, and maybe I need to go in, maybe they fixed it and you can like mute one, but one of them is my actual account that you can follow, and the other is my channel that all of my videos are on. But you couldn't upload videos unless you made a channel, but people can follow both?
Yeah, well, one
Yeah,
of them,
it's weird.
has your entire name smushed together, another one's spaced out properly.
I don't.
I
That's
don't
why-
believe anything Roy says
I don't
out of his soilless.
I get notifications for both of them. It's the same fucking account.
I follow
don't-
one of them.
I don't know. It's the one with the videos on it.
Yeah,
I
one
don't
of them's
know.
got up-to-date videos.
I
It's the
hate
one that has
the
the names
Rumble.
squashed.
Rumble needs to fix so many things. And like Rumble, like I upload all my videos over on Rumble, and I get maybe 2 views a video.
Mhm. Everyone's on YouTube.
Yeah.
what
And that's
they're
people are like, oh, it's great over on Rumble. I'm like, it's really not. No, dude, we're over on Rumble. I'm like, yeah, you guys have 100,000 fucking subscribers. Of course you guys have something over there.
Yeah, and they're all pretty much the same people who are already following them on YouTube. Pretty
Exactly.
much. It's just the life raft of a video platform.
Yep, spare tire.
Sheesh. Just sign up a contract with the Daily Wire. Or they
Yeah. Yeah, no, they'll only fuck me for my house and everything that I own. That'd be great. God, that was the other thing. You know what though? But before I don't want to deep dive into that because I need to get going. And before I go, I just want to say Wrangler. God bless it. I'm getting tired. Yeah, it was an early day today. Thank you so much for having me on, man. Thank you for letting me come and throw the monkey wrench into the stream. I do appreciate it.
It's always fun.
I'm sorry. At least I haven't lost it on your channel like I did on Darkish's channel.
No, you're really
Oh,
getting
dude,
it.
I shared that clip all over the place.
Did you really?
Oh, I need to
Yeah.
look this quick.
Well, I mean, when I say all over the place, all I have is 2 Frequency
Yeah.
Studio accounts, a Twitter and a Minds, and I put it on both of them.
I
I'm gonna
appreciate
share
it. I don't know. I felt like that one. I felt like when I got done with that, I ended up listening to it a bunch because I was like, all right, how bad did I go off of the rails? I listened to it like 5 times in a row and I was like analyzing everything and I'm like, okay.
That's a good
I'm
way
like-
to drive yourself nuts.
Well, that's what I do with a lot of my stuff is I watch it's like you know, like football players and basketball players and all them, they go watch like film of what they did.
Yeah.
You know, and like I mean I like bowling and a lot of people who they bowl, they film what they're doing so they know what they're doing wrong. And that's kind of how I look at my YouTube videos and my live streams and stuff like that is how, you know, I'll go back and I'll listen to it and, you know, a couple of times even after it's posted live and I'll go, what did I do here? Did I do that right? The bitch of it is though, is sometimes I think I do something like really, really well. And, the algorithm just doesn't care. It doesn't matter. So,
All hail the mighty algorithm.
Maji-chan, just pay attention to the chat. I was trying to tell you stuff.
I was in the live chat with all the peeps, all 5 of them.
See, so what you have to do is you pull up the YouTube, just go to the actual YouTube like URL, and then you pull up and then you go over to where the live chat is under the actual website, the browser, and then click the 3 dots over on the chat, and then click pop out chat, and then you can have a pop out chat, and then you can have the private chat.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, pop out chat's amazing. I taught a bunch of people to do pop out chat. Now they're all doing it. What the fuck, Wrangler?
Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Oh, you won the game.
Apparently.
Damn it. Dude, my wife did a TikTok of the game. You guys know the game?
Jumanji?
Wow, the game
Okay, Billy Bob.
gotta be a bit more descriptive.
Yeah.
Billy, do you know the
Oh,
game or
the game.
not?
Oh yeah.
No, the game.
Okay.
You
The one
should
that
just
Michael
pull up
Douglas
the
played?
TikTok because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know how to fucking pull up the TikTok. I don't watch TikTok. Anyway, my wife pissed off a lot of people.
Oh yeah, then
It's
you
great.
definitely
But
need to show the TikTok.
it's middle school. It's middle school bullshit is what it was, and it's just fun. It's just something from when we were kids.
What's the game?
All right.
Describe. Because maybe
Okay.
we do know it and we're just not remembering.
All right. So if I tell you about the game, you will forever be initiated into the game. Okay?
Oh no.
This is
So
your
won't
only
be part of
chance
the
to
game?
back out.
Holy shit! Really?
What?
Legend of Shilar has a game?
You bastards. Anyway, all right. So basically, this is some shit that came out.
3 seashells? What
Eh,
is that?
How did Billy die? He coughed up a lung. How did that happen? All right, so basically,
That's what the hell the three seashells are
That is
for.
from one of the best movies that like documents what we're going through right now, and it was from what, like the 90s or something.
Yeah, Demolition Man.
Yes.
oh shit.
Yeah, it was your last like 80s action movies in the 90s.
It was a brilliant movie.
You know what? I'm not even gonna explain the game anymore.
I don't think we
I'm
want
just
to be
gonna
part
go.
of
know
it.
this game. I'm so
I don't know if I wanna be
lost.
part of it.
I just got distracted by
All right. The game is psychological warfare, and back in middle school, elementary school, we learned about the game, and the game is this: if you think about the game, you lose the game. Now, for 24 hours after that, 24 hours, depending on who you talk to. Depending on who you talk to, this is how it worked. But basically, for 24 hours after that, you could not lose the game, right? Give you a chance to forget about it. Okay. Once you are initiated into the game, you will always be playing the game. If you hear the game and you think about the game, you lose the game. If somebody tells you, hey, you lost the game, you cannot pretend that you didn't lose the game or that you didn't know about it. You lost the game. Okay. When you lose the game, okay, you cannot say I lost the game in a way that is too conspicuous. Most people break that rule. That's more of a guideline than a rule. Okay. And you are then obligated, and this is my rule. Okay. But then if you lose the game, you then can tell other people that you did lose the game or that they lost the game, and thusly they lose the game. Welcome to the game, ladies and gentlemen. You just lost.
That sounds like the most retarded.
Fine,
shit I've
I'm going to
ever
go
heard.
play.
But-
You lost me. So
It's the middle school bullshit. Those who did it back in middle school. Anyway, my wife did a TikTok about it. It's got like 600,000 views. Apparently, we were talking about biscuits and gravy on the stream, and a drink with crazy got
Play
some.
the game.
Yeah, guys, I gotta go. I appreciate it, Wrangler. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here, man. I am sorry that I came in and I was just like, ooh, politics, and I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to ask Maji Chan to share her thoughts and everything on Hogwarts since she's played it, but we can do that next week.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to play that game, but turns out you have to have a next-gen console. And I asked my buddy if the computer that I have can run it, and he goes, maybe. And I'm like, huh. I'm like, really, dude? The computer
Wait.
you built? And he's like,
Yeah.
dude,
Well,
7
No,
years
no, no.
old.
You have a Series S, so you should be able to play it, man.
Should be able to.
No. The Series S and the PlayStation 4 comes out in April.
No, the Series S already came out. It's the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions,
The One X.
and the Switch comes out in fucking like June. I
I
bet
know,
you
that's
it will
retarded.
play on the Switch, but it will not play good on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Not on the 4 Pro, it will. On the 4 Pro, it will. OG4, no.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
have
even
a
think on.
self-installed SSD drive.
Yeah,
into
and
your
the
PlayStation
only
4.
reason that I say that is because Ghost of Tsushima on the 4 Pro looks god tier.
Oh,
Imagine
okay,
it on a 5.
but I had
Oh
a
my
1X.
god, the nerdage going on here.
Oh fuck, I'm out of here. I'm
I'm
out.
just waiting to get
I'm out.
word in edgewise.
Wrangler, I thought I was thankful. Thank you. It's great. You know, I'm just, God, I'm out. I got it. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Oh my god, he did run away.
Wait a minute. He's legit.
He was
Well,
looking for an
he was
escape
just leaving 20
for
minutes
for
ago.
About 20 minutes. So.
Run away, run away.
Run away. Run
All of a
away.
sudden, that reminds me of Monty
Monty
Python when they
Python,
all
yeah.
go,
Grab
run
them
away!
coattails.
The old bearded man is after me. He's going to make fun of my wig. Bye.
Lemmy gibbering through the lines at WrestleMania.
Close.
Hey,
In
Herman.
response to that.
It was in the Triple H.
Sorry, I keep thinking that I'm on push to talk.
Oh, jeez. So, yeah, Hogwarts Legacy, the reason why they had to postpone the PS4 release and the Xbox One was because the graphics were too good.
No, it's because it ran like shit.
Well, yeah, they literally had to downgrade the graphics and everything because I run into loading issues on the 5. I can't imagine on a
Yeah,
4
I do
without
too.
an
I'm on a
SSD
Series
drive.
X. and when you go to certain doors, it takes literally 2 to 3 seconds to fucking load. And then you, what do you think's gonna happen on the PS4 and Xbox One base PS4 and Xbox
You go putter, 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 die.
Like, it's either gonna look like shit. The only console I think it's gonna run well on, and it's not gonna look that pretty, but I think the Switch is the only one that's gonna be okay to play on.
Look at how Metroid. Look at how Metroid Prime Remastered looks on the Switch. Seriously though, look at how that game looks and runs on the Switch. 60 FPS, solid frame, and it is gorgeous. So the Switch can handle those kind of graphics.
I seriously think Hogwarts Legacy is going to run okay on, good on Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think it's going to run okay and good. I think it's base PS4 and Xbox One. It's going to be bad, guys. I would not recommend getting it.
No.
I'd wait and see. That's what you should do.
For sure. Well, that's my mentality with gaming nowadays. I wait and see all the time. I don't pre-order anything. I wait and see what it's like. And even then, I'm starting to like just buy a year later when the game's on sale. Like Elden Ring, I got that recently.
Have a great night, Whimsyland.
Hey, Maji, did you beat Hogwarts Legacy yet?
Oh no, I'm still doing all the side stuff. I'm about 68% complete.
I finished the first playthrough on the 11th, and I started the second playthrough immediately.
Well, that's the thing. There's so much to do.
I got
Yeah, I can hear a train from my place too.
I sleep through trains. They ain't shit.
Dude, I sleep through jets.
That's more of an accomplishment. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking
you have to learn to sleep through the jets, or you don't survive here.
Yeah, true. When I was over in Grapevine, I lived just north of the airport. Now, granted, we didn't necessarily always hear stuff, but days where it was foggy over the lake, that was just like due north of the airport and where I was at, man, the jet wash and everything else would rumble off of the lake, hit the clouds, and then it would just vibrate between both of them. So it was loud. Yeah, I used to sleep, when I was in Kansas, my apartment, like quite literally across the parking lot from the tracks, and they would come through at like 6 o'clock in the morning as my alarm was going off. So I like couldn't hear my alarm go off, and I'd sleep through it.
I'm giving Royce so much crap right now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Well, we were actually just about to wrap it up. Glad you got on here, though.
To create that epic moment.
Oh, it was beautiful. How's your book coming along? Is it almost done?
No, well, which one?
Well, you were working on a couple.
Yeah, no, the one that's the Wizard Stone is inching its way towards release and will be released on March 3rd. So, and my next one, which is it's the continuation of the Revenant and the Tomb, is I don't know. I'm still working on that.
Have you finalized that title that you were working on?
Yeah, well, kind of. We'll see.
Hold up, Maji.
Huh.
Where the fuck is my 2 stories?
I'm revising it. I didn't. You missed it. You weren't here earlier. At the beginning of the stream because Wrangler was asking about it. I didn't like how the flow went because I'm trying to build the relationship naturally, and it felt too forced. So I'm going back and rewriting it.
Which story?
A gamble.
You talking about
which is linked in the description below, by the way.
You're talking about the little girl. And her
Yeah,
father?
the little girl and the robot.
Yeah.
It's part 2. It felt too forced and not natural. So I'm going back and rewriting it so that the friendship could develop more naturally.
Yeah.
The beginning I'm pretty much finalized on it. The one that I have posted on Substack, but the part 2, it just.
I don't know. You never sent me the link to read part 2, Maji.
Yeah, that's because I was revising it, and I'm like, this seems like Hollywood shit. I don't like it. Rewrite it.
What was that
Wow.
awful fucking Hollywood movie? It was with Hugh Jackman. It was robot boxing. It's true
I
steel.
Actually, I
love
like
Real
that.
Steel.
Steel something.
Real Steel, dude. That was a great
Yeah, I love that movie, man.
Yeah, but it's got that. It's got the Hollywood stuff that she's talking about.
movie. No, I haven't
Like
seen
the
it forever, so I
robot.
don't remember it.
Well, Hollywood's gonna Hollywood.
It was fun.
But
Yeah,
down in the
but
link
at
in the
least-
description below is a link to Maji Chan's story that we're discussing right now. Also down there is
It's
a link
like
to
story.
Herman P. Hunter's Amazon page.
Thank you.
No, like I said, I was just reading it and I'm like, this feels very choppy. It doesn't capture any emotion, and it feels like it's just get to point A to point B. So I'm going back and fixing that.
Oh, I should also say before you guys leave, my ebook is half off now at pretty much every retailer except Amazon. So Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Smashwords.
Any gay place you can think of.
Yeah, except Amazon, because Amazon won't allow me to do it unless I'm Amazon exclusive or Amazon Select or whatever the hell it is. So
In other words, you gotta pay more money.
Goodness.
no, it means I have to pull all of my books from every other outlet, which I mean that's not a lot right now, but who
That
knows?
could be a pain later. That
Yeah.
sucks.
But anyways, sorry about interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, we were good. I was asking about
Yeah.
your book.
Sees now everybody else is running away.
So Herman,
Kiko, your link is also in the description, by the way, to the Kiko-Man commercial song.
I still think we need to hire JP or somebody to friggin' make your own song.
I'm for
Hey,
that.
there's a tune. Speaking of tunes, I'm going to activate ours and then wrap this up. Parting plugs, guys?
Trippysoul.substack.com. I should have a new poem up there shortly. Look for Eat
Also
the Pain.
linked in the description.
Be up shortly.
Maji,
Hi, I'm Maji. No, I'm kidding. Please check out ironage.media. He's trying really hard to get the indies movement going. Him and Royce got this awesome tag team going up right now. You can find writing prompts, voice prompts, and other works by independent artists there. Go ahead and check him out.
Billy Bob Sack.
I'm just fabulous.
Yes,
All
you
right.
are.
Go watch Star Trek, I guess.
Yes.
Kiko-Man.
Enjoy some sauce and look for God within you.
There you go.
Raven.
Well, I'm going to endorse both the Star Trek and the Iron Age Shop Media. Both great things.
And Herman.
Go Iron Age.
All right.
Yeah.
Go Iron Age.
I already did my shilling earlier, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
he don't want a double shield, you know.
Well, no, I would normally double shill, but
Oh, yeah, we can't forget we got a shield for Royce. He left. Drink with Crazy is just as fun as you
Yes.
think it is.
And Iron Age nights every Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. Or is it
Just
8 or 9 Eastern?
9 o'clock Eastern.
9 o'clock Eastern.
you just have
Oh.
to remember he has no balls. Please don't stare.
And he's
But he's
the
got an
biggest
awesome wig.
Iron Age booty daddy.
I got-
The
I
Wig
got a
of
photo of that.
Destiny.
If you watch Friday Night Tights, it's basically just right after Friday Night Tights.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they go over everything that the establishment did wrong, then come over to Iron Age nights and watch all the new stuff that we're making right. And that's where I'll show for myself. Check out Haley Starbag Kitty. She gets knocked out of her regular daily life and into a mystical adventure. Go check it out. She's got to use her wits and her potato guns along with her empathic senses to survive.
And make sure to watch Legend of Shilar too.
yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Legend of Shallart, great.
All right, peace out, guys.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to like
Music.
hit the music
Where's the
or
music?
something.
Boomer Wrangler.
Well, I'm. It turns out I'm on the wrong page. I do that. I do that once or twice or 30 times a stream. Give me a break.
It turns out that kangaroo fighting doesn't translate over to internet, you know, savvy.
Yeah. Well, translate this for the kangaroos.
Hey, at
If you
least
enjoyed this presentation, hit the like, and if you didn't, I appreciate you stopping by. See y'all next time, and God bless.
See ya. At least we don't have a woke checklist like Hollywood.
Oh yeah, and I was supposed to hit that. Hey, that helps. Yeah.
Still learn.
You'll get it.
Oh.
And just one more time.
Jewish space lasers.
Good night, everybody.